So before we talk about TLS Exterminator and the issue and the pull request that you've opened, Nabil, let's just do a quick recap of what Pipely is. I mean, it's pretty much right here in the About page. 20-line Varnish config that we deploy around the world. And it's like, look at our CDN. It has quite a bit of history here. You can just like click the links and see, what was there. This is what we're doing now. Support TLS origins. This is the AKA roadmap step that we're currently at.
Yeah.
So remember this?
Oh, yeah.
A simpler alternative to, yeah,
Caser,
a little bit younger. I had less hair there, if that's possible. And this was March 18th, 2022. So it's coming up to 3 years.
Yeah.
It's coming up to 3 years. Crazy how time flies. Cool.
It does.
So this is the issue that you created. Tell us a little bit about it.
Right. So I heard on one of the podcast episodes, I think it was probably one of the Kaizen episodes, where you all were talking about this limitation with TLS, not supported as you can't use a TLS backend with the open source Varnish. And I just got to thinking, like, wow, that's a silly limitation. Like, why would they limit that? And it almost, like, initially I kind of assumed worse intentions, and like I was like, wow, so Varnish just wants to move you to enterprise, for a silly feature like TLS. I think I reached out to you and also just kind of confirmed what the problem was exactly, because I think I did also misunderstand it slightly. But it really was just that Varnish itself can't talk to a TLS endpoint. It can only talk to a plain HTTP endpoint.
That's correct.
And, I've been playing around with a reverse proxy, and this is basically something a reverse proxy can do. I mean, usually your reverse proxy, serves TLS and might go to an HTTP backend, right, in your local network. But like, why it shouldn't be a problem to do the reverse. And I did do a couple of experiments with YARP and got it working, and I shared it with you. It worked, but the .NET framework is kind of heavy, and it was I think it was using about 20 megabytes of RAM, which I think actually is better than it used to be. I think I think a lot of .NET apps will consume like 100 megabytes of memory quite easily. So I looked at Go, the Go solution, at startup, it's like 1 megabyte or 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a very simple program. Like, all it does is listen on a port, provides an HTTP endpoint, and then it just takes that request, sends it to, the HTTPS endpoint that you configure it to, and then it just returns that result back. So very simple code. That's it. 56 lines of code. It's a very simple program. It just takes 2 parameters, like what port do you want me to listen to? What domain do you want me to forward the request to? And that's really it. Yeah.
I really like the simplicity. I mean, that like, things should be this simple. Memory consumption should be low. CPU cycles should be low. And if things are this simple, should be low. But you mentioned something really interesting. The whole state of TLS in Varnish. And initially, I thought this is an upsell, right? Like that.
That's exactly what I assumed. An upsell, yeah.
That was my first thought. Go to Varnish Enterprise and then you'll have it. So I did a bit of digging, and this is one of the first results that you find when you search for Varnish SSL or Varnish TLS. And they say, first install Hitch. This is done via the Varnish Plus add-on SSL package. Okay, interesting. So Varnish Plus to me suggests that you need to have some sort of a Varnish extra repository. I think this will go into the enterprise, right? Because how else are you I'm not sure, because I haven't used this. And then you configure Hitch. But looking at this configuration, it just doesn't make sense. And the reason why it doesn't make sense, you listen on 8443. Why would you listen on 443? Because what we need to go to 443, which is one of the backends. But why does Hitch listen to port 443 and then the Hitch forwards to port 80?
Yeah,
so in my mind, it's like the
reverse.
The reverse. Yeah. Okay, so I did like a bit digging, like let's just see Hitch, Varnish Hitch, a scalable TLS proxy by Varnish software. Okay, so far so good. There's stars, watchers. This, usually when there's a failure, I'm thinking, 2 months ago. Okay, well, maybe, who knows, just a bad one. Like a bad commit, whatever. But that it hasn't changed in 2 months, I think that's
And
my
the last
first red
release
flag.
is 23.
Exactly. Last release, that's the other thing, right? You go down here, Hitch TLS proxy failed. Okay, well, let's click on that. That's exactly what I did. Like, let's see what's going on there.
I
So
mean,
this
it's
loads.
nice that they have CI, but
Yeah,
if
that's
it's broken.
exactly, that's good. Something unexpected happened. Maybe refresh. Sure, let's refresh. It did load before. So when I looked
okay.
at this, it did load before, but let's see if it loads now. Nope. Nope. So still down. Okay, so that's not a good sign, right? And then I come back. Hitch is a network proxy that terminates TLS SSL connections and forwards the unencrypted traffic to some backend. Well, we want the exact opposite.
Yeah,
right?
that's not what you want, yeah.
Exactly, we want the reverse. So the second stop, why no SSL? So that's exactly what we're thinking. Why doesn't Varnish have SSL? First, I have yet to see an SSL library where the source code is not a nightmare. So as I'm writing this, the Varnish source code tree contains 82,000 lines of CNH files, including jmalloc and zlib. OpenSSL, as important to FreeBSD, is 340,000 lines of code.
Wow, yeah.
Not exactly the best source in the world. I hope that you know what you're doing, but let us assume that a good SSL library can be found. What would Varnish do with it? I think this is where you're getting into like the really interesting stuff. We would terminate SSL sessions and we would burn CPU cycles doing that. You can kiss the highly optimized delivery path in Varnish goodbye for SSL. We cannot simply tell the kernel to put the bytes on the socket. Rather, we have to corkscrew the data through the SSL library and then write to the socket. This is the most important part of this page. Will that be significantly different, performance-wise, from running an SSL proxy in a separate process?
Yeah.
This is it. This is the key. No, it will not, because the way Varnish would have to do it would be to start a separate process to do the SSL handling. So
Yeah.
that's our answer. So who wrote this article? Poul Henning. I didn't know who Poul Henning was,
Well,
but
I
we
mean,
did our
neither did I,
research,
yeah.
right? So 2011. So this was 14 years ago. So this guy wrote this 14 years ago. So who's Poul Henning Kamp? He's a Danish computer software developer known for work on various projects, including FreeBSD and Varnish. Interesting. Has been committing to FreeBSD for most of his duration. Okay. He's responsible for the widely used MD5 crypt implementation of the MD5 password hash. Okay, GDB, okay. FreeBSD jails and the FreeBSD and NTP time counters code. And okay, so this guy, I think he knows what he's doing. Okay.
When he says something, yeah, you can probably take it seriously.
Yeah. And he actually, okay, so he wrote Varnish Cache, right? He is the lead architect, and so I think he wrote most of Varnish Cache. So let's just double check that theory. So Varnish Cache contributors, boom, yeah. So like almost four times more than the next person, and he's been like there since 2006.
Yeah. And I mean, he's still by far the largest contributor, even though he really slowed down his contributions like after 2020.
Yeah. Okay, so let's click on this. Let's go to his website, PHK's Bikeshed. Okay. I'm the author of Varnish. Okay, I think I like this. Like, you know, when people start like this, you know exactly who they are. Please buy a Varnish More license.
Ooh, interesting.
Let's click on that. Okay. Very interesting. Read more. Okay, accounting. Very transparent. I like, wow. Crazy. Yeah. Look at that. Very good. A lot of transparency. I like this. I like where this is going. Wait. This is exactly where we started. Does that mean you're the same Poul Henning who, yes, FreeBSD, MD5 crypt, jails, nanokernels, time counters, SCSI ping. Should we?
And the Bikeshed.
Should we? So, Poul Henning Kamp is the guy that invented the Bikeshed.
I've seen this exact post like a long time ago, like same color and everything. Like now it brings back memories, like years
1999.
ago.
There you go. Okay, so thank you, Poul, for the Bikeshed. we have Bikeshed a lot about Varnish and TLS, so thank you for that.
That's
and we
true,
have a framework to do it in. And do you know what's the best part about this? I mean, by the way, besides capturing this, which I'm such a huge fan of, my favorite feature about this is The color
Wait.
changes.
When you click it, the color changes?
When you refresh, the color changes.
Oh.
How good is that? So, yeah. Whoever came up with this, thank you. This was
that's
funny.
awesome.
This was so fun to discover. Cool. So, I think that we should listen to the guy. And I think that we should start a separate process to the SSL handling. I think this is good. By the way, I was also doing a bit more research, so let me just do Varnish. And another thing which I found here, this was afterwards, was SSL again. This is a hot topic. So this is
6 months
SSL
ago,
again